The galaxy had been at peace, or so it seemed. Far away, beyond the reaches of the Milky Way, in the darkest corner of space, a high-tech alien-controlled planet orbited a dying star. This world, ruled by the Galactic Supreme Command, had long been a hub of alien advancement and technological supremacy. The inhabitants, a race of calculating and ruthless conquerors, looked down on other species as primitive. They believed their weapons, their technology, and their overwhelming power made them unstoppable. They had conquered countless worlds, wiped out entire civilizations, and absorbed countless other species into their empire. But Earth was different. In a vast, imposing meeting hall, the high-ranking officials of the Galactic Supreme Command sat in tense silence. Their leader, a tall and imposing alien known only as the Commander, stood at the center of the room, overseeing the latest intelligence reports. His silver skin gleamed under the dim lighting, and his cold, calculating eyes scanned the holographic displays around him. The reports were clear. Earth was weak, a primitive world filled with disorganized, untrained beings. It had no chance against the might of the Galactic Empire. But there was one detail that intrigued the aliens, one detail that made them uncertain. Humans had something no one else had. They called them snipers. These humans, armed with long-range weapons, had become a force to be reckoned with. The Galactic Empire had heard stories of their precise aim, their ability to take down entire squads with a single shot. It seemed absurd to the aliens, who had never faced such a challenge. The report showed footage of one human sniper, Ethan Walker, who had become a legend among his people. And so, the Galactic Supreme Command decided to take action. They couldn't let these snipers threaten their empire. A covert mission was planned, and a single, highly trained alien assassin was chosen to eliminate Earth's last line of defense. The alien warship, cloaked to remain undetected, was ready. It would travel undetected right to Earth and destroy Ethan Walker, the one human who posed a threat to them. The commander smiled coldly, confident that the mission would succeed. After all, no one had ever stood against the Galactic Empire and won. This would be no different. But even as the commander spoke, somewhere far in the depths of space, a lone alien warship, silent and deadly, began its descent toward Earth. With weapons ready and cloaking systems activated, it was a terrifying sight. The ship was designed for only one purpose: to eliminate the greatest threat humanity had ever known. As it approached Earth, the alien soldiers aboard the ship were filled with confidence. They had never encountered resistance like this. They were more advanced, more powerful, and had the perfect plan. They were certain their mission would be easy. Back on Earth, a different story was unfolding. In the barren wilderness of a remote military outpost, Ethan Walker sat alone in his small makeshift cabin, preparing for his next mission. The sun was setting on the horizon, casting long shadows across the land. The quietness of the night was broken only by the soft hum of his equipment, his steady breathing, and the distant sounds of nature. Ethan was a sniper, one of the best humanity had ever produced. His skills with a long-range rifle were legendary. His face, weathered and marked by years of battle, was calm, focused. His dark eyes, sharp and vigilant, scanned the horizon through the high-powered scope of his rifle. He wasn't just preparing for any mission. He was preparing for something personal. His team had been wiped out in a previous skirmish, and now he was the last of them. The mission was his, and only his. Ethan's mind was sharp as he checked his equipment. Each part of his sniper rifle had been carefully customized, each adjustment made with precision. The most advanced tech available to humans was at his disposal: thermal scopes, enhanced ammunition, and targeting AI systems. He had trained for years to be at the top of his field. His skills were unmatched. However, despite his focus, something felt off. It was a gut feeling, the kind of instinct that only comes after years of battle. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was coming, something dangerous. And then, a sudden flash of light in the sky caught his eye. It was fleeting, almost imperceptible, but Ethan's eyes widened. His instincts kicked in. He immediately activated his communication system, sending a signal to his commander. "Something's coming. I need backup," he said, his voice steady but urgent. The line crackled with static, but the response was clear. "Stay alert, Walker. We've detected an anomaly. It might be nothing." But Ethan knew better. He'd fought alongside his comrades long enough to recognize when something wasn't right. His mind raced as he grabbed his rifle and moved toward his designated sniper position, high in the hills. The setting sun bathed the world in crimson light, but his thoughts were sharp. He knew this was no ordinary threat. As he set up his rifle on its mount, adjusting the scope to zero in on his surroundings, he couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. The high-tech equipment on his body hummed as it linked with his systems, and he readied himself for whatever was coming. Ethan was good at what he did, perhaps the best. But this felt different. His instincts were screaming at him. Suddenly, the silence was broken by a low hum, distant yet growing louder. The alien warship had arrived. Cloaked in invisibility, it silently descended into the atmosphere. Its massive, sleek form hovered above Earth like a shadow, unnoticed by most of humanity. The ship's sensors scanned the terrain below, seeking out its target, Ethan Walker. Ethan's hand trembled slightly as he adjusted his scope. There, in the distance, he saw a faint shimmer in the air, a distortion, like a mirage. It was a trick of light, but he recognized it instantly. The ship had decloaked. Ethan's pulse quickened, but he remained calm. This was what he was trained for. This was his moment. He adjusted his rifle once more, his gaze steady and focused. The alien ship loomed larger in his scope, its sleek, deadly silhouette emerging from the fog of invisibility. He knew it was coming for him. This was no ordinary mission. This was war. The first shot fired from the alien warship broke the stillness, but Ethan was already moving. His sniper rifle roared to life, and the battle for Earth's survival began. The first shot missed, but he was already thinking 5 steps ahead, knowing what was coming. And just like that, the game was on. Ethan Walker was a man of few words, but when he spoke, people listened. Standing at a towering 6'4", with a rugged, battle-worn physique, he had the appearance of someone who had seen far too much of the world's darker side. His hair, once a deep brown, now had streaks of gray, a testament to years spent in the heat of battle. His eyes, a piercing blue, seemed to always be searching, scanning, calculating. They held the weight of loss that haunted him every day. Stationed in a remote military outpost on Earth's farthest edge, Ethan had become a living legend. Known for his precision and unparalleled skill, he was a sniper, the best humanity had ever known. His reputation had spread far and wide. Rumors of his never-miss record were whispered even across the stars. The Galactic Empire's intelligence had been aware of him for years, and for good reason. He was a threat. In the silence of his outpost, Ethan prepared for the impossible. His cabin, a small fortified structure surrounded by the wilderness, felt more like a prison than a home. He kept to himself, rarely interacting with others. His life had been reduced to this, a single mission at a time. It was all he knew. The quiet hum of his high-tech sniper rifle echoed in the room as he made final checks on his equipment. The rifle, sleek and deadly, was an extension of his own body. Its modifications glowed with soft blue light, showcasing the advanced tech humanity had developed. Ethan's hands were steady as he ran his fingers along the scope, his eyes sharp and focused. His rifle had been with him through every mission, and together they were an unstoppable force. The camera zoomed in on the glowing modifications, laser guidance systems, adaptive recoil dampeners, and a targeting AI that worked in perfect sync with his enhanced vision. It was a weapon designed for one purpose: to eliminate any target, no matter how far, no matter how dangerous. But despite his skills, Ethan had never been one to boast. The loss of his team, The men and women who had fought beside him in previous wars still haunted him. The faces of his fallen comrades flashed in his mind's eye as he prepared for another mission, one that had become more personal than he could have imagined. This time, it wasn't just about completing orders. It was about protection. It was about redemption. He couldn't let another team fall, not while he had the strength to fight. The weight of the mission settled heavily on his shoulders. The galaxy believed Earth was weak, primitive, and easy to conquer. But Ethan knew better. Humans weren't just survivors. They were warriors. And as Earth's last line of defense, he was determined to protect his world from whatever came next, even if it meant going up against the might of the Galactic Empire itself. Out in space, the alien warship was already on its way, cloaked and invisible to any Earth-based radar. The ship's descent was swift and silent. The crew aboard the vessel, elite soldiers from the Galactic Empire, were confident in their mission. They had been tasked with eliminating the human snipers, starting with Ethan Walker, and they had no doubts that they would succeed. Their weapons, their technology, their strategy, everything was more advanced than anything Earth had. The alien forces had watched humans for years. They had seen the growing resistance, the rise of human military forces, but they still saw Earth as a simple, backward planet. The aliens believed that no species, especially one as primitive as humans, could stand against them. They were wrong. Inside the alien warship, the leader of the elite strike team stood, looking at the holographic map of Earth. He was a tall, angular figure, his dark eyes cold and calculating. His species had conquered countless worlds, but there was one thing they hadn't counted on. The humans were unpredictable. Their resilience, their spirit, was unlike anything the Empire had ever faced. The leader's lips curled into a smirk as he looked at the coordinates for Ethan Walker's location. The ship's cloaking system had already made them undetectable, and their strike team was ready. Their mission was clear: infiltrate Earth, assassinate key human leaders, and eliminate Ethan Walker, Earth's greatest sniper. "They think they can challenge us," the leader muttered to his second-in-command. Foolish. But even as he spoke those words, a small flicker of doubt passed through his mind. He had studied Earth's defenses, read every report about the humans' unexpected tactics. They weren't like the other species they had conquered. No, humans were unpredictable, and that made them dangerous. Back on Earth, Ethan was getting ready for what he felt would be his most difficult mission yet. His instincts had been honed over years of warfare, and they were telling him that something was coming. Something big. The feeling of being watched had only grown stronger as the hours passed, but he had learned long ago to trust his gut. He didn't know it yet, but the enemy was already closing in. The alien warship, invisible to Earth's sensors, had crossed into the atmosphere and was making its final approach. The team of alien assassins was preparing to deploy, armed with weapons that could tear through any defense. But they had underestimated one thing: Ethan Walker. The warship's descent was slow, its massive form stretching out across the sky like a shadow, undetectable by the human radar systems. The elite alien team, suited in their sleek, black armor, moved into position. They were ready to strike. But as the first dropships deployed to land on Earth's surface, they were met with an eerie silence. No alarms, no panic, just the steady breathing of one man, who was always prepared, always watching. Ethan adjusted the scope of his sniper rifle once again, his fingers moving with practiced precision. He couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. Something was about to happen. Something big. His heart pounded in his chest as the first dropship of aliens made its way down to the ground. In the distance, Ethan saw them. Shadows moving in the trees, cloaked in high-tech suits. His mind raced as he calculated his shot. He had seconds, maybe less. His rifle's AI linked with his vision, calculating distance, trajectory, wind speed. Everything was coming together. But this wasn't just a normal mission. This wasn't just about taking out a few enemies. This was personal. The first alien soldier stepped into view, And before he could even realize where the shot had come from, he was down. The sniper's bullet had struck with perfect accuracy, a silent kill. But Ethan knew this was just the beginning. The warship still loomed above him, and the strike team was only getting started. In this part of the story, Ethan's character is established as a highly skilled sniper with a deep sense of duty and personal loss. He's portrayed as a protector, haunted by the death of his team, and motivated to prevent more loss. The alien forces are introduced, with the elite strike team confident in their mission to take down Earth's best sniper. The stage is set for an intense confrontation, leaving the audience eager to see how Ethan's skills will hold up against the alien threat. The moon hung low in the sky, casting a pale light over the dense forest surrounding Ethan Walker's remote outpost. The air was thick with tension, as if the land itself knew something was about to happen. Ethan stood at his makeshift command center, a small fortified cabin that had once been used by soldiers from an earlier war. Now it was his sanctuary, where he lived alone, focused on his mission. His sniper rifle was resting against the wall, ready for action. Outside, the world was still, too still. Ethan's instincts were never wrong, and they were telling him something was coming. His heart raced as he scanned the perimeter through his enhanced optics. His mind, sharp from years of experience, began to piece together the quiet puzzle before him. There was no sound, no movement, nothing but the subtle disturbance in the air. His hand slowly moved to the rifle, checking the scope once again. His mind flickered back to the mission briefing, which had only hinted at the possibility of an alien attack. He'd been on high alert for days, waiting for something like this. But now that it was finally happening, he didn't know exactly what he was facing. He could only trust his training and his instincts. The silence was shattered by a faint hum in the distance. At first it was just a low buzz, too faint to identify. But as the noise grew louder, it became clear. Something was descending. Ethan's eyes narrowed as he zoomed in with his scope. Far in the distance, he saw the faintest shimmer, an alien warship cloaked in advanced stealth technology. The ship was slowly descending through the atmosphere, its massive form blending in with the night sky. It was almost invisible, but not to Ethan. He wasn't just any soldier. He was the best, the last line of defense for Earth. His senses were finely tuned to pick up the smallest details. The ship was close, and its purpose was clear. This was no ordinary invasion. They had come for him. As the ship's cloaking technology failed to mask the sound of its landing, a small squad of alien soldiers emerged from the shadows. They were dressed in sleek, black armor, their movements swift and precise. Cloaking devices shimmered around them, making them nearly invisible to the naked eye. But to Ethan, they were just within moments, the alien leader's orders were carried out. From the warship above, robotic drones and advanced cloaked units were dispatched, flooding the area with reinforcements. The ground around Ethan's outpost began to tremble as the new wave of enemies landed. But Ethan was ready. The moment he heard the whir of the drones, he adjusted his aim. The robotic drones were equipped with energy weapons, and their movements were sharp, mechanical, deadly. But they weren't humans. They lacked the instincts that made a soldier truly dangerous. Ethan's rifle fired again, and a drone exploded into sparks, its glowing core destroyed in an instant. But the aliens weren't giving up. Their numbers were growing. Ethan's heart pounded in his chest, not out of fear, but out of pure adrenaline. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was a battle of wills. The aliens had underestimated humanity, and now they were paying the price. Another alien soldier, cloaked in advanced camouflage, crept closer, trying to flank him from the side. Ethan heard the slight crunch of a branch underfoot. He didn't wait. His rifle barked, and the alien soldier dropped before he could even react. The rest of the strike team was now in disarray. They couldn't keep up with his precision. Each shot, each movement was calculated. They were being picked off as if they were nothing more than targets at a shooting range. As the chaos unfolded, The alien leader's frustration grew. His soldiers were falling, one by one, unable to match the human sniper's skill. The squad had underestimated the terrain, and they had certainly underestimated Ethan Walker. They thought they could easily destroy Earth's best, but they were learning a harsh lesson. Retreat, the alien leader growled, realizing they had no chance of winning without reinforcements. Fall back to the ship. We need to regroup. But as the surviving aliens retreated, Ethan's eyes followed them through the scope. His mind calculated every angle, every shot. His rifle was ready. There was no mercy. This was his world, and no one, not even the most advanced empire in the galaxy, was going to take it from him. The harsh, metallic sound of gunfire echoed through the forest as Ethan Walker crouched low behind a thick, gnarled tree. His eyes flicked back and forth across the battlefield, watching the chaotic movements of the alien forces through his scope. His finger was poised over the trigger, each shot precise, each movement calculated. It was like second nature for him. His mind was a machine, analyzing every situation with the focus of a predator. But today was different. The air felt heavier, the usual calm. The sense of solitude that Ethan had grown used to in this remote outpost had been shattered. His old comrade, Bonner, had arrived to assist him, a man he once trusted with his life in countless battles. Bonner had always been the optimist, while Ethan kept his emotions in check, a soldier's stoic resolve. Bonner wore his heart on his sleeve. He smiled in the face of death, always ready with a joke or a word of encouragement, even when the odds were against them. Ethan could feel the weight of Bonner's presence. The younger man had insisted on coming to help. Despite the risks, he believed they could win, that they could always find a way to beat the odds, even when things looked impossible. He was young, idealistic, and full of energy, a stark contrast to Ethan's hardened, grim outlook. "Got your back, Ethan," Bonner had shouted as they moved through the dense woods, their boots crunching on the dry leaves. It was the same old feeling, the same camaraderie, but this time there was a sense of foreboding that lingered in the air. The aliens had escalated their attacks, and things were about to get worse. The two soldiers worked seamlessly together, moving like shadows, firing in perfect sync. Ethan could feel Bonner's optimism, his unshakable belief that they could still win this. But Ethan had seen enough of war to know that optimism often leads to disappointment. There were no guarantees in battle, only survival. He couldn't let himself think about anything other than the mission. Suddenly, the calm was shattered. From behind a rocky outcrop, an alien drone appeared, its glowing eyes scanning the area. Ethan didn't hesitate. He fired a shot, but the drone was quick. It dodged and returned fire, its energy blast striking the ground just inches from Ethan's position. "Watch out," Bonner shouted, running toward Ethan's position to draw the alien drone's attention. But it was too late. As Bonner moved into the open, the drone adjusted its fire, locking onto him with terrifying precision. The blast was instant. Bonner was struck in the chest, the impact of the shot sending him flying backward into the dirt. The world seemed to stop for a moment. Ethan's heart skipped a beat, his blood turning cold. "Bonner!" Ethan's voice cracked as he rushed to his fallen comrade's side. His mind was racing, thoughts of tactics, escape, and survival all blending into one confused mess. But none of it mattered. Bonner was gone. Ethan's hands trembled as he checked Bonner's pulse. But there was nothing. The younger man's eyes stared vacantly into the sky, his lifeblood spilling into the earth beneath him. For a brief moment, Ethan felt a weight pressing down on his chest, a crushing sadness that threatened to overwhelm him. This was his fault. He had brought Bonner into this, dragged him into a fight that cost him his life. Ethan had always protected him, always kept him safe. But now, he was gone. The loss was personal. Ethan had lost many in the past, friends, comrades, but Bonner had been different. He had been more than just a teammate. Bonner had been the brother Ethan never had. The anger and grief surged through him like a tidal wave. And in that moment, Ethan knew he wasn't going to let this go. He wasn't going to let Bonner's death be in vain. Through the lens of his rifle scope, Ethan's eyes locked onto the alien forces still moving across the battlefield. His breath came in short, sharp gasps. The alien forces had made a mistake. They had killed Bonner, but they had also awakened something deeper inside Ethan, something darker. His grief would not be his weakness. It would be his strength. His rage would fuel his resolve, and the aliens would pay for what they had done. In the distance, the alien commander, a towering figure clad in dark armor, stood watching the chaos unfold. His cold, calculating eyes narrowed as he observed the human sniper, now more dangerous than ever. The commander had been confident. He had believed the aliens' advanced technology and overwhelming numbers would be enough to defeat the humans. But something was different now. He had seen the resilience of the humans, their tenacity in the face of overwhelming odds. The commander's thoughts were interrupted by the sound of a new wave of reinforcements landing. More drones, more soldiers. He signaled for them to advance, ready to crush the humans once and for all. But his belief in the alien forces' invincibility was starting to crack. The humans had already shown they could survive. No, more than survive. They could fight back with a fury that the aliens had not anticipated. Ethan's rifle came up again, his hand steady despite the storm of emotions raging inside him. His next shot was not just a kill. It was a promise to Bonner, to Earth, to every soul that had fallen in this war. Ethan would keep fighting until every alien on this planet was destroyed. He fired again, and another alien soldier dropped. The alien commander watched in disbelief as one of his most elite soldiers fell to the earth. He had underestimated humanity, thinking them weak, primitive. But now, as he saw the human sniper continue his assault, the realization hit him. The humans were not like the others. They were unpredictable, relentless, and they fought with a fire that couldn't be extinguished. The aliens regrouped, trying to form a strategy, but their confidence had been shattered. The human sniper was more than just a soldier. He was a force of nature, and they had no idea how to stop him. The commander could feel his resolve beginning to waver. He had come here to crush humanity, to show them their place in the galaxy. But now, he wasn't so sure. The battle raged on, with Ethan at the center of it all. His grief had turned into something more. Every shot he fired, every alien he took down, was for Bonner, for all those who had fallen before. The aliens had awakened something they couldn't control, and now, it was their turn to learn just how dangerous a human sniper could be. The aliens may have had superior technology, but they didn't understand the human spirit. And that, in the end, would be their undoing. The battle for Earth was far from over, but one thing was certain. Humanity would fight until the very last breath, and no alien force would ever be able to take that away. The final battle had arrived. The sky above the shattered battlefield was darkened by the massive alien warship, a hulking beast of advanced technology that now hovered ominously over the city. Its massive cannons glowed with deadly intent as it prepared to launch an orbital bombardment, hoping to annihilate Ethan Walker and the remaining human forces. The ground shook with each blast, the air filled with the sounds of destruction. But on the battlefield below, humans fought with everything they had. Ethan's team, battered and bloodied from hours of fierce combat, continued to push forward, knowing this was their last stand. The once thriving city, now reduced to rubble, had become a war zone, with soldiers fighting hand-to-hand, using whatever weapons they could find. Buildings were reduced to piles of concrete and metal, and the streets ran red with the blood of both human and alien forces. It was chaos, but amidst the destruction, there was a spark of hope. The human spirit was unbroken. The camera panned across the wreckage, capturing the raw intensity of the battle. Soldiers, their faces grim with determination, engaged in brutal close-quarters combat with the alien invaders. The clang of weapons, the hiss of energy shields, and the screams of battle filled the air. Humans fought with everything they had, ruthless in their defense of their home, unwilling to give an inch. Ethan, though separated from the chaos below, knew that this was his moment. The alien warship loomed above, casting a long shadow over the city. The alien commander, having watched Ethan's ruthless assault on his forces, finally spotted him in the distance. With a cold, calculated gaze, the commander ordered the warship's weapons to target Ethan directly, hoping to end the human threat once and for all. But Ethan wasn't ready to go down without a fight. As the warship charged up its cannons, preparing to unleash a final strike, Ethan took cover, quickly assessing the situation. He knew that time was running out. The alien forces were regrouping, and they would soon launch another offensive. But if he didn't act quickly, the warship's bombardment would obliterate everything. His thoughts were sharp, calculating, as he watched the battlefield through his scope, the lens of his rifle giving him a clear view of the alien commander. The moment was fleeting, but it was enough. As the warship's cannons fired, Ethan took a deep breath and moved into position, his sniper rifle raised and steady. His hands, though bloodied and bruised, were calm as ever. He had trained for this. His entire life had led to this moment. Every battle, every loss, every victory had shaped him into the soldier he was today. And now, as the warship prepared to strike, he had one chance to stop it. The first blast from the warship's cannons shook the earth beneath him. Ethan's heart raced as he squeezed the trigger. The shot was clean, precise, and for a brief moment, everything seemed to slow. The bullet soared through the air, heading straight for the weak point of the warship's core. Ethan knew that if he could disable the warship's power, the aliens would lose their ability to continue the bombardment, and the tide of the battle could shift in humanity's favor. But the aliens had no intention of making it that easy. The alien commander, enraged by Ethan's persistence, saw an opportunity to end the battle once and for all. He ordered his elite warriors to launch a ground assault, sending them into the streets to confront Ethan face to face. The alien forces, now fully aware of the human sniper's capabilities, had decided that it was time to take the fight directly to him. Ethan's heart pounded in his chest as he prepared for the worst. He knew that his sniper shots had slowed the alien advance, but he was running out of time. He needed to end this. He needed to fight with everything he had left. The street became a battleground. Alien warriors in advanced armor, their cloaking devices flickering in and out of visibility, stormed toward Ethan's position. Their weapons were advanced, capable of obliterating human soldiers in seconds, but Ethan had something they didn't: human ingenuity and a sheer will to survive. As the aliens closed in, Ethan sprang into action. He moved quickly, his body already battered from hours of combat, but his resolve was stronger than ever. His sniper rifle was discarded in favor of the close-quarters combat skills he had honed over years of fighting. The first alien warrior charged at him with a blinding speed, its claws extending to tear through his armor. Ethan dodged, using his agility and strength to deliver a swift blow to the alien's midsection. The alien staggered back, stunned by the human's unexpected strength. The fight was brutal and unforgiving. Ethan's fists connected with the alien warrior's face, sending it reeling. But the alien wasn't alone. Others followed, attacking from every angle. Despite their advanced technology, Ethan knew that their arrogance had led them to underestimate human resilience. The aliens fought with cold precision, but they lacked the fiery determination that burned in Ethan's chest. He was fighting for more than survival. He was fighting for his fallen comrades, for Bonner, and for the future of humanity. In the chaos, Ethan saw the alien commander emerging from the shadows, his towering figure cutting through the debris. The final confrontation was about to begin. The commander, confident in his advanced strength and technology, stepped forward, his weapons drawn. His eyes locked onto Ethan's, and for a moment, there was a shared understanding. The alien commander believed that he could crush this human once and for all. But Ethan was no ordinary human. He was a force of nature, And this fight would not be decided by technology alone. The commander lunged, his blade flashing in the dim light of the battlefield. Ethan dodged, using his agility to his advantage. They clashed again and again, their weapons striking with such force that the ground trembled beneath them. The alien's strength was overwhelming, but Ethan's ingenuity and quick thinking kept him one step ahead. Every move, every counterattack, was calculated. Ethan used the environment to his advantage, knocking over debris to disorient his opponent. Finally, in a swift motion, Ethan disarmed the alien commander, sending his weapon flying across the street. The commander staggered back, stunned by the human's sheer determination. Ethan seized the moment, grabbing his fallen sniper rifle. With a single, final shot, he aimed for the core of the alien warship, which was now visible above the battlefield. The bullet flew true, striking the weak point in the warship's core. Sparks flew, and the warship shuddered violently. The energy around the core destabilized, and with a deafening explosion, the warship fell from the sky, crashing to the earth below in a fiery wreck. The battlefield fell silent as the alien forces were thrown into disarray. Their command center had been destroyed, and their reinforcements were scattered. The war was far from over, but the humans had won a decisive victory. Ethan stood, bloodied and bruised, but victorious. He had not only survived, he had defeated the alien invaders and protected his people. The alien commander lay defeated at his feet, and as Ethan looked down at the fallen foe, he knew that this was only the beginning. The human spirit could not be broken, and no matter the enemy, no matter the odds, humanity would always fight back. The battlefield was eerily quiet, the sounds of combat fading into the distance as the sun began to set. The once chaotic city now lay in ruins, the wreckage of alien technology scattered across the streets. The alien warship, once a looming presence in the sky, had crashed into the earth, its shattered remains burning brightly as it smoldered in the distance. Smoke rose into the air, a reminder of the intense battle that had just unfolded. Ethan Walker stood alone amidst the wreckage, his rifle slung across his back, and his face bloodied but resolute. He gazed out across the battlefield, his eyes heavy with the weight of victory, but also with the sorrow of loss. The battle was won, but the cost had been high. His comrades had fought valiantly, but not all had made it out alive. His mind drifted to Bonner, the young soldier who had fought beside him with optimism and hope. Now that hope was gone, taken from him in the blink of an eye by a relentless alien drone. The pain of his loss was still raw, but Ethan knew he had to honor his memory. In his hand, he held Bonner's dog tags, the cold metal a silent tribute to his fallen comrade. Ethan's grip tightened around the tags, his heart heavy with grief. He hadn't been able to save Bonner, but he had avenged him. The alien forces that had once seemed unstoppable were now decimated, their warship destroyed, and their leader lying defeated at his feet. Ethan's determination and skill had been the deciding factor, but the cost of victory was never easy. As Ethan stood there, a transmission crackled through his comms, the voice on the other end cold and authoritative. It was a message from the Alien Council, the very beings who had sent their forces to invade Earth. Their defeat had not gone unnoticed. The message was brief, but its meaning was clear. Never ever mess with a human sniper. The words hung in the air, a stark reminder of the galaxy's mistake. The Alien Council had underestimated humanity, believing that their advanced technology and superior strength would crush the human resistance. They had thought Earth was weak, that they could wipe out humanity with ease. But they were wrong. The message sent to the galaxy was loud and clear. Humans were not to be underestimated. Ethan let the words sink in. He knew that this victory would not go unnoticed. The aliens would regroup, and the fight for Earth's survival was far from over. But for now, they had won. And that was something worth celebrating. He looked back at the wreckage of the alien warship, now reduced to twisted metal and smoldering ruins. It had been a symbol of their power, but now it was a symbol of their defeat. The camera zoomed out, capturing the vastness of the battlefield. The sun was setting on the horizon, casting a golden glow across the ruined city. Ethan stood tall, the only figure left standing amidst the destruction. His face was battered, his uniform torn, but there was a fire in his eyes, a fire that would never be extinguished. He had fought for his people, for his planet, and he had won. But he knew this was just one battle in a much larger war. The alien forces would return, but humanity would be ready. As Ethan stood there, holding Bonner's dog tags in his hand, he could feel the weight of the victory. It wasn't just his personal victory. It was humanity's victory. It was a victory for every soldier who had fought, for every life lost, and for every person who had believed in the cause. The message had been sent, and it was a message that the galaxy would never forget. Ethan's eyes turned toward the horizon, where the sun was beginning to dip below the skyline. The fight was over for now, but he knew that the war for Earth's survival was far from finished. There were more battles to come, more enemies to face, but humanity had proven that they were capable of standing up to the most powerful forces in the galaxy. And as long as humans like Ethan Walker were around, the fight would never be over. The final shot of the scene captured Ethan standing tall, silhouetted against the glowing sky. The wreckage of the alien warship lay in the background, a symbol of humanity's triumph. As the camera pulled back, the scene grew quieter, the smoke from the warship's remains still rising into the air. Ethan's figure slowly faded into the distance, but his presence remained. For now, Earth had won. But Ethan knew that this victory was just the beginning. The final message from the Alien Council had been heard, and the galaxy now knew that humanity was not to be underestimated. They had fought back against the odds, and they had won. But the future remained uncertain, and the fight for survival would continue. Ethan didn't know what the next battle would bring, but he was ready. He would keep fighting. For Earth. For humanity. And for all those who had fallen before him. The story of Earth's resilience, of humanity's strength, was far from over. And as long as there was breath in his body, Ethan Walker would be there, standing tall, ready to face whatever came next. The final message had been sent, and the galaxy now knew the truth. Never ever mess with a human sniper. The story of humanity's fight for survival had only just begun, and it was a story that would be told for generations to come.